So today we're going to feature the Dopesplay 14-inch portable monitor with keyboard. Basically, it turns most of your Samsung and Apple devices, turns it into a laptop. So that's pretty neat. So I didn't box the item, but I just want to show you some of the key components, and then we'll go through the devices that can, or some of the devices I have that can hook up to this portable monitor, which turns it into a laptop style center. So this is the Dopesplay Lab or 14-inch monitor with keyboard. That's what it looks like closed. On one side, we have the data cable. That's the charging port. I wish this was just another USB-C charging port, but that's the charging point here. That's the data cable, HDMI port, USB-A, and then two more USB-A slots. And then that's a headphone jack. Let's open it up. So looking it up close, it's not a glossy background. There is a webcam, but I'm not sure how that works yet. This is more of like a flat matte finish on the screen. And then here's your keyboard and trackpad. Let's showcase the other stuff in the box. This here is the charger. I don't want to break it here, but it has different tips for different regional outlets. Here's one. That's the one for North America. And then here's another one. Pretty cool. Let me put this back on real quick. It did come with a HDMI cable, and then also a USB-C data cable. So the first device I'm going to try to hook up to this is I have a Samsung Z Flip 5. I believe the Samsung Z Flip 5 does not have DeX included. Might take it a second to hook up here. There we go. Then there's what it looks like on screen. Let me see if I can get that zoomed in a little bit more. Pretty neat, right? But that's not always practical. But what you can do is go through some of these apps and then try to do different usage for it. So let's pull up YouTube, but put it in portrait mode, then it stretches it out some. Now that's pretty neat. So I just turned my phone into a laptop screen, or an extension for a laptop screen. Let's see what else we have here. Let me see if I can pull up a notepad. I notice on the cell phones, it charges the cell phone. So the unit has a bigger battery. The monitor has a bigger battery and it starts charging your phones. It's said to keep the monitor on if it's fully charged between 5 to 6 hours. I got to create a new notepad. All these new creations here. So instead of typing on your phone, what you can do is type on the keyboard like a laptop. So the typing, it makes the typing experience a lot better. Let's go ahead and switch out devices. So the Z Flip 5 doesn't have DeX, well, at least as far as I know. But if you want to write papers, read articles, surf on the internet, you could turn your Z Flip 5 into a miniature laptop, but not in the format as DeX. The color renderation between phone and monitor look pretty close. The next device I'm going to hook up is the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Let's zoom out a little bit. Plug it in. So the iPhone 16 Pro Max works on here too. So let's pull up Spotify. I'm not going to play anything just for copyright stuff, but you can scroll through things like that. Maybe I could pull up Kindle. Then pop into your YouTube book here. So it looks like it defaults to portrait mode, not landscape mode. On certain devices, you're going to have to change it over. Loading YouTube again. Going back to that music. For some reason, the color reproduction, I don't know, at least for me, it looks like it's not as bright with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Which is kind of a shame. But here's the phone, you kind of see it. And then you see over there, it's not the same there. Let's try another device. I tested this out earlier. Wow, didn't mean to do that. I tested this out earlier with the iPad Mini 6. I think this is one of the best things that it does accompany, because the color reproduction is not that bad. And it basically turns your miniature iPad. So I got a little small keyboard for it too, but it makes it the big boy. Look at the size comparison. I don't have this fully plugged in. The mouse works really well with the iPad Mini 6. You can mess with the settings. The settings are kind of hard to learn. That might be another video, how to adjust those settings. But you can turn up the brightness, change the color gamut. But I like the fact that I can get rid of that iPad Mini 6 and the current case it's set up on, and just have it as a regular iPad with no keyboard case attached, and then just bring that along as the keyboard. So that's pretty neat. Let's see what other devices I have. So we've tested it with the Z Flip 5, Samsung Z Flip 5, the iPad Mini 6, the iPhone Pro 16 Max. I have, I think, a couple more devices to test it with. So I have the Samsung S25 Ultra. It should ask me to turn this into DeX mode. Just taking a second to connect up. It wants me to go through a software update, but I'm going to skip that for now. So this is DeX mode. Basically, it has it where it turns into like a laptop desktop setup format. You see in the corner there. The only issue I have, and maybe it just takes some setting adjustments, is the mouse on this. When I touch the trackpad, it takes a second before it picks up on the mouse. And then when it does, the mouse, the icon is black. So it's hard for me to detect it right away. See, I haven't been able to find the mouse yet, the icon. I don't think it's the unit. I think it's the way the UI is designed. I don't know why it's not finding it right away. There it goes. You just saw it on screen. See how it took a minute to pull up? See, it turns into like typing and then I can't see it. But then you see it as a finger pointing at something. But it's pretty neat that you just turn this into a laptop with your S25 Ultra using DeX. I'm gonna unhook this. So what else, other devices we have? Oh, I do have two more devices to look at. I have the iPad Pro 11-inch M4. And it depends the size ratio screen you put up. Sometimes it just shows up kind of weird how it's displayed given the aspect ratios. And I noticed with some devices you have to re-plug it in a couple times. See, like, that aspect ratio kind of looks funny on the screen on portrait mode. If you can get it to flip to landscape, it's not that bad. There we go. But the aspect ratio is still kind of funny. You can adjust it, it'll make it more crisp, but then it's almost the size of the iPad Pro 11. And then I notice, at least when I try to connect it, it would typically, the device would steal the sound, from the iPad 6, but on the iPad Pro 11, the sound was still coming out of the iPad Pro 11. But more or less, this has an import chip. So if I need to go into docs or I'm doing some editing, I do have a slightly bigger screen. And it's basically turning your iPad into a laptop. There's some tinkering you have to do. Just be aware of that. It's not perfect. This device goes for about $165 to $260, depending if they have a sale. It's suggested retail around a $260, but it's typically like $165, $170. I've seen it. So just be aware of that. I'll put that in the link below for the device through the Amazon affiliate. If you guys are interested on looking at that, please look at the link in the description and it'll redirect you to this Dopesplay device. I think I have one more item to try it on. So my thought process is like when the new MacBook Mini 5 comes out, the 4 is really small. Is maybe I can buy like a MacBook Mini 5 when that comes out, and then try to hook that up. I unfortunately don't have any MacBook Minis at this time, but I do have an M1 MacBook Air, and I'm wondering, just to show if it, like, there's no sense to have the computer when it's about the same size, but if it's the MacBook MacBook Mini, if you were to have that hooked up, could it like detect it? But I'm gonna see if the Air detects it. I don't know. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I see what happens. I think I'm gonna log in real quick. I think because the laptop already has it as a screen, it's trying to detect it as a secondary screen. It's a lot darker for sure. So every device, it's dark or bright. It just depends on the device you're looking at. I don't know if I can actually turn up the brightness where it makes a difference. Makes a little bit of difference, but it's not as bright as the M1 that's next to me. Let me go in display settings real quick. And just see if I can make it a main. My idea is if I were to make that the main, if you had a MacBook Mini, obviously you wouldn't have a screen that comes with it. So if this was a MacBook Mini hooked up, then I would be seeing my computer settings. Then yeah, that's not bad. I mean, it's not a MacBook Air screen by no means, but for $165 for an item that can turn your phone or your Samsung or your iPad or your MacBook Mini into a laptop workstation, that's a steal of a deal. So just want to showcase this wonderful product. It's not perfect. It does have some quirks. You do have to do some tinkering around, but to me, that's a game changer. It really is. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, help me grow my channel, subscribe. And again, if you're interested in the product, please go in the description and click on the affiliate link below. Thank you and have a wonderful day.